Now, thankfully, me and Jack are patient and somewhat resilient, as we have had many technical difficulties today.
Take 95.
And this is our take 95. Maybe not 95, but it's definitely a few takes in. To the first ever episode of the Fresh Alternative podcast.
So fresh and so clean.
We are the Cullen brothers. I'm Ben Cullen.
I am Jack Cullen.
And we have wanted to do this for some time. And today is a significant day in our calendar year and in our life. And we chose to start the podcast today. The podcast was Jack's idea. The podcast name was Jack's idea.
I think you had the podcast name.
Did I?
Yeah, because I was like thinking about certain ways, and then you were like, I'd said about Dad's business, and then you were like, wait a minute, Dad's slogan was the Fresh Alternative.
Okay.
So I think you had that.
All right, maybe. So to
half and half.
Sure. So to give some more context, today is a public holiday in Hong Kong, and this day last year we played the first ever Hong Kong Keith Cullen Memorial Cup.
Mm-hmm.
We chose to play bowls. Me and Jack went head to head. I was Nelson and Jack was Tree Harris. These are our respective rugby teams. And we played bowls. Jack's team won. Jack was clutch on the very last moment of the day, in fairness to him, and he took the
cup.
He took the final bowl and he took the cup. We made up the rules. We don't
Yeah,
we don't
I
know
could
the
have
rules
lost.
set, but the rules set that we played meant that Jack won.
Yes.
And yeah, fair play to him. Good on him. So the Keith Cullen Cup did not start in Hong Kong. At our father's funeral, a legend called Terry Party,
The big man.
he suggested that we start a memorial cup for the two teams, where we would celebrate Dad's life, and the two teams, who are both local rugby teams, would play against each other every year. And that's happened many times in the last 10 years. It's not happened every year for a variety of reasons, but for the most part, it's run every August.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is
Big shout out to everyone that makes sure that it happens every year as well.
yeah. The day is
Appreciate everyone.
the day is an important day. We celebrate Dad's life, but more importantly, we celebrate others in the community that have also lost their life to cancer, as well as raise money for those that are struggling with it. And the money goes straight to Macmillan, who do a great job, with cancer research and helping those in the communities. And we chose to spend today, instead of playing the Keith Cullen Memorial Cup, we spent today together to get this podcast launched off the ground, spend some time together.
Finally get Ben Cullen for an hour.
And here we are. This is episode 1, take 95.
95.
So where do we start, JC?
Dad.
Okay.
I think the impact he had on us, the lessons that we learned, and the fresh alternatives he helped us pick throughout our life. But you were very fortunate because, being a bit older, you were able to work with Dad at 14, which was a very big step, considering you had to carry 25 kilo bags of potatoes on your shoulder every day, all day. And you saw the not the real side, because we obviously see the real side of Dad as a parent, but you seen him as the boss man, also the lad Keith Cullen, when he's around the other boys.
Yeah, Dad had, I think, well, definitely the biggest influence on my life. And Dad passed away when I was 21, and Jack and Amelia, Amelia is my sister and Jack's twin sister, when they were 17.
Just 18.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, that's right, just 18.
Yeah.
And so I guess I got to spend a little bit longer with Dad, and with that came being influenced by him and getting to go to work with him.
Getting up at 4 a.m.
I reckon I started at 12 or 13. I don't think it was 14. Anyway, I did it for every summer through my teenage years, I believe, and then also Saturdays throughout the year. So I got to see how Dad operated his business, and then how Dad operated as an individual outside of the home.
Just 14-year-old Ben Cullen coming home shattered.
Yeah.
Straight to bed, son.
There was a lot of graft. Dad was a fruit and veg merchant, and he would deliver to or supply fruit and vegetables to, local restaurants, hospitals, schools, anyone that needed fruit and veg, basically, Dad was selling to them. And
grafter.
Yeah. So there was a lot of, essentially I would have to be in the van with the drivers and go around the different locations and...
Shout out to Yori.
Yeah. There was a guy who I was paired up with for the most part. Yori.
What was the other guy's name though?
There was a few. David.
Die.
Yeah.
Hell of a voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dad's impression of him was unbelievable.
And I was responsible for firstly just being the grafter.
Getting duped into filling the back of the van, reverse psychology.
I just started going to the gym. I can literally even remember the shirts I'd wear, like the long sleeve t-shirts I'd wear to try and make myself look bigger. I'm not even kidding.
Hey, I think that was most of us, Die.
Wait, I haven't said the best part yet. I used to wear 2 of them.
That's unbelievable.
I was like, oh, this shirt makes me look a little bit bigger, so I'm going to wear 2 of them. I'm not lying. I used to wear 2.
Were they Marks and Spencer's numbers?
They were like long sleeve numbers that Mam had got me or whatever.
I reckon you've gone like the white long johns, and then you've got a jumper on the top.
It wasn't far off that because it was cold as well, right? Like it was 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the valleys on a Saturday morning or through the summer is in the summer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was freezing until about 9 a.m.
Then it was still cold.
And then it was tops off. Definitely.
And then it was tops off, potatoes on the shoulders.
Oh, God.
One on there, one under there.
God. I also remember... We've actually genuinely started this podcast so many times today. I'm trying to remember what I've said or not said. But
yeah, because you don't want to run over yourself. I'm the same. I'm like, have I said that already?
We did discuss earlier around how I would have to move these spuds around, and as I said, I'd just gone into the gym and I was like, doing my best to get into better shape as well as just lift. Like I can fucking lift anything. Well, I'm going to try at least. And Jack reminded me of just the general mentality of the blokes, and it's so obvious now looking back as a...
Well, it was the reverse psychology, and it was obviously Dad knew that it was a learning curve for you.
Yeah.
So a bit of story. Ben, obviously being the youngster in the team, they were like, you can't pack the back of the van. And Ben, he's like, yes, I can. I'll pack all of it. What do you mean I can't pack it? And then obviously reverse psychology, Ben's packed the back of the van by the lads to get a 10-minute coffee break.
They'd literally be like, no, you shouldn't do that. Like you can, like you're going to be exhausted. You play rugby. You've got school. And I'd be like,
you've got maths in an hour, son.
These guys are fucking mugging me off. I'll show them I can do it. And then obviously I've packed the van. They're all laughing at me, and Dad knew what was happening as well. And,
Rite of passage.
Yeah, he knew it would teach me well down the line, but yeah.
Oh, he built a set of shoulders for a while, didn't he? Especially under those 2 long sleeve shirts.
Yeah, 2 of them. So funny. So yeah, spending a lot of time in Dad's business was very influential as well as eye-opening.
I remember I didn't really work with Dad because I was too young to come in. But I remember being about 9 or 10, and Amelia and I came to the office with Dad, and where he had like the area where you'd pack all the spuds and you'd keep everything, and then you'd go up the stairs, and then he had his office.
Yeah.
And I remember he was like, right, you two, I'm gonna leave you in here for a bit, and you'll do some work. Like, just don't mess things up, whatever. And like me and Amelia, like we'd fucked up all of like the telephone bit because we're like throw in a bottle of like Panda Pop, and then we're trying to throw the bottle to see if we could throw it without spilling it, without the lid on. Dad came up and we fucking broke the phone, and Dad's like, Jesus Christ, you've been up here for 20 minutes. And I remember me and Amelia being like, oh, what a stupid idea. But like that's the most of like seeing Dad and then just seeing him in work and then stir fry and all that when he had that. And I remember it was the first phone I'd seen, like the first smartphone or like flip phone.
Yeah.
Do you know that metal one that he had that you could slide down a little bit?
Well, I got it after him. I thought I was a legend.
There's like little snippets of that I could remember, like Dad at work, but unfortunately I never got to see too much of him there. What values do you reckon he taught you?
Well, I think looking back again at the time, I didn't realize it, but he put so much responsibility on me, but I had no idea the responsibility I had.
Did you feel the pressure when you
didn't know?
You didn't. Okay.
Didn't know any difference.
You just thought it was just part of your job.
Yeah, and I didn't. He never once was like, you better not fuck up or like anything like that. But if I did fuck up, I would have been in.
You'd let him know. He'd let you know.
Well, you know what? But I would have been in. I guess what I'm referring to be specific, is some of the finances. So we would, you drop off the the produce, and some of it was either cash or check on delivery. And then at the end of the day, I had to have, there might have been 30 or 40 drop-offs. So 30 or 40 different invoices that needed dealing with. Some people, had like credit or whatever it was, but then there was cash, and there was check. And I had to make sure that the books balanced at the end of the day. And I was also not allowed to leave. Obviously, I was not allowed to leave anything in the van whilst you were at the next stop. So it wasn't like I had a little bag that I put it into and you left it in the van, because the van is open because you're delivering stuff.
So someone can
steal the money. So I literally would like have money bags and checks and everything I had to have zip pockets.
Oh, I thought you would have had a little bum bag, Di.
I didn't even think. I don't even know.
This massive pocket.
I did. I swear to God, I had the biggest pockets you'd ever seen in your life, just full of cash.
And then a hoodie with
and coins as well. It wasn't like it was all.
Yeah, of course.
There was loads of coins, and then I'd have to get back to the office, which would be the worst part of the day. And I'd have to go upstairs, and there was a wonderful lady called Liz.
Oh, I remember Liz.
And I'd have to get the money out, and you'd go, match up the invoices, and she'd count every single penny, obviously.
And then you'd be sweating bullets.
Yeah, waiting. And then you'd be like, well, fuck it, I don't remember any ever
being wrong,
fucking up bad, but like there was definitely times it's like, well, there's £6 missing or
and
whatever.
Of course you don't, and then you're like, fuck, what if they think I've stolen?
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't ever remember
but that,
it being bad,
yeah,
but like that moment of being like, oh yeah, you're all good today, and he'd be like, yeah. I made it another day.
Oh God!
Like they'd be like, I'm not kidding, like thousands of pounds.
Of course, yeah. It's because
it's not in my pockets, bro. My massive pockets, like a squirrel rolling around.
It's just funny, like Dad takes like £1,000 and then just gives you like a crisp £10 note. It's like the handover. It's like, there you go, son.
I definitely didn't get paid at the end of the day, but I did.
He's like 50 quid at the end of the week.
Well, it depends. If it was summer holidays, I'd work Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
And if it was if it was just a Saturday,
yeah,
obviously in school Monday to Friday, and work a Saturday, and then I get a tenner, and it would literally be 4:30, 4 a.m. wake up, in work by 5:30, and it would at times it would be a 12-hour day.
But also you can see like where Dad's like put pressure on you, and you've managed to deal with it, which you didn't think about. But also you've seen the graph firsthand where he's up at 4 a.m. every day, and like home late as well, like 5, 6. It's like a 12-hour day already.
I didn't have an alarm. This was before I had a mobile phone and anything like that. Didn't have an alarm. Dad was my alarm. He would come in and wake me, and he'd come in and wake me up, and he'd go, oh, we're good to go in 15 minutes or something like that. I just used to get up. I do stuff Weetabix, and then brush my teeth and go to work. There was nothing to...
Some sugar on top of it, boy. Sorry, your father used to call my Weetabix the Alps because I just drenched it in sugar.
Salt.
Salt. It's Sean Connery. Used to drench it in salt.
Oh, God. And yeah, the one time I remember he woke me up for work, and this was during the summer holidays, and I'd been working for like 4 or 5 weeks flat out, 6 days a week. And I fell back asleep, and I woke up then at like 7 a.m. and I was still in bed, and I was like, the fuck am I still doing in bed? And then Dad came home from work that day, and I was like, Dad, you fucking didn't wake me up. And he's like, I did, but he was like, I knew you were knackered, like you needed a day off. But I was gutted.
Yeah, because
I woke up at like 7. I was like, why am I in bed?
I should be at work.
Well, it's like I just felt like I'd let Dad down, and then it came home. As I said, it was all before phones. I couldn't text Dad and go, Dad, what happened? I just had to wait for him to come home, like, for him to then tell me. Yeah. So I mean, to go all the way back to your original question, I think it was just his influence of how he ran his business, how he dealt with his staff, how he dealt with his customers, and how... I also remember this other... this is only coming back to me now. I must have been so young as well at the time, and sometimes we'd go out and deliver the stuff, and you'd be like 30, 40 deliveries, wherever. You come back, and maybe whilst we were out, someone then has messaged or called Dad, definitely a message, called him and gone, oh look, we need this delivery. It can't go tomorrow. And Dad would do it best to send it that day, if he could, without also taking the piss out of his staff. And I remember Dad didn't sell, I don't think he just sold coconuts, but like one of his really good customers
Was like, we need
wanted
coconuts.
coconuts. So then Dad had arranged from a delivery to come from Cardiff with this like 2, 3, 4 bags of coconuts to come to his warehouse for then it to go back. So I get back to the warehouse with, I can't remember which driver I was with, and he was like, oh, you need to send these coconuts. And it was miles away, bro. And I was like, Dad, why are we now taking 4 bags we don't even sell coconuts.
And now why
are we going back to, and he was like, because they're a good customer. And I'd like, just the way Dad was. So yeah, all of these things I didn't know at the time.
But it's like, it's not about the money. It was about customer service,
he went on,
relationships.
He went on to tell me that he wasn't making any money with that by the time there's
with like buying the coconuts, petrol,
all
staff.
those things. And he was like, you are making zero money, but they're a good customer.
And you're building rapport and a relationship.
All of that, yeah.
And they will continue to buy off you for the future.
That's it.
And it's a customer for life.
Yeah.
And do you reckon you've put that at the tots as well? All of that stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
For the viewers, Ben has a business called Rugby Tots, a coaching company. So just asking Ben about that.
Yeah, I think lots of the lessons are transferred. Yeah.
Because I always remember you said to me, I think it might have been my first year, and I can't remember what it was about. But I remember you saying, Dad always said to you about like net profit. And he was like, or top line profit or something.
Just top line revenue.
Top line revenue, that's it. And that was one of the things that you kind of knew already because of Dad.
That's literally the coconut story.
Is that coconut story?
It's literally the coconut story. He was telling me that like your bottom line is your profit.
Yeah.
Your top line is your revenue. So by doing the coconuts, he didn't make any money, but his revenue was increased. His top line went up. That's literally the coconut story.
Is it? Yeah.
I swear to God.
Never knew that.
Yeah,
how funny has come back round?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
I was like, you're not making. It wasn't even about me getting paid. It was like, Dad, what are you doing? You're not making any money there. It was me trying to think I understood the business. Me like getting too far ahead of myself, being like,
well,
why are we selling the coconuts?
I know this, Dad.
Yeah. But he taught a different lesson.
But I like how that's come back around, because I always remember that from a few years ago. He's saying like top line revenue makes a difference. This that, but I didn't know his coconut story.
It was literally the coconut story.
I don't think I ever heard that one.
Maybe not, but the I guess what I was passing on to you was that specific moment. And yeah, what we did talk about earlier was in one of the 94 first takes was about how the first day I went to work with Dad was the first time I heard Dad swear as a not shit or bagger. It was
fucking hell.
The F-bomb.
Because he never swore in front of me, you and Amelia in the house. I remember
because we know Mam's going to listen to this.
Yeah, or Mam.
Yeah.
But like...
Mam.
Yeah, oh, sorry, yeah. No, I was talking about, yeah.
Mam had the potty mouth.
Sorry, I was just thinking about Dad. No, Mam didn't swear. Mam still doesn't swear. But as I got older, me and Dad started to put swearing into our vocabulary with each other, which made it hilarious, by the way. It was hilarious. He didn't swear all the time, but when he did, it was funny.
Yeah.
But he never, ever swore in front of Amelia. Not once. And like, even when they were on their own, she was like, I never heard him swear, which I love, by the way. Like the fact that he kept that away from Amelia. But then, fuck, I heard him swear all the time.
Bro, the first time I heard him, I remember it so clearly. And there was this other guy who was an old guy, notorious in the village, whereas Dad sold to, I guess it was business to business. There were some people in the area, like your milkmen and your fruit people, and they would literally go from, it was business to consumer.
Consumer, that's it.
That's it. And so there's this guy called Cyril. And Cyril had this hanging truck, bro. This truck was, I mean, this is not even going to sound very now. I swear to God, it was the same colour as your hat.
Shout out to Cyril for the hat.
Your hat's lovely. Cyril's truck was hanging. And he I can't remember what he wanted, but he'd like, the orders would come up and Dad would have to like send them out for whatever he had. Dad would buy to what he was pretty much sending out. He wouldn't buy too much because it was fresh stock. And then Cyril would come up and like he'd like nag Dad's for stuff because if he'd like fucked up his order and whatever. And I remember I was behind Dad coming out of the office bit, as you said, like down the stairs, and Dad's ahead of me. And Cyril's like walked into the warehouse and Dad would, fucking hell, Cyril, what do you want? I was like, whoa. I was like, who's Cyril? Because I didn't know who Cyril was at this point.
Yeah.
Who's Cyril? And I was like, Dad just swore. I remember like looking around and just be like, did anyone else hear that? Dad just swore. And then I guess for the rest of that day and forever onwards realised that, it turns out fathers do swear.
And he's exactly the same as us around the lads.
God. It was like proper lad mentality.
Fucking hell, Cyril, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a funny day.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, obviously Dad taught me a lot, but I'm trying to think of one moment where I was like, oh, it'll have to come back to me.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you have a little look at your list there of some of the things we were going to notch up? I tell you what, I'm gonna do this for you. Another thing that's going on right now is, I think me and Jack have, we've both, Hong Kong has been a difficult place to be throughout COVID, and we've come pretty much through it right now, even though the rest of the world did it a long time ago. But I think we've both put in a lot of graft over the last year, 2, 3 years, and Jack is at the end of one phase, which I would like him to go into. Yeah. If you want to take it from there.
Of course. So a week ago, did my first men's physique competition, natural, which was
maybe you need to explain to some people what that is.
Okay, so I didn't use any performance enhancing drugs, no steroids, just completely natural.
Wait, I didn't mean that, Pond. I meant what men's physique is.
Oh, sorry, Di. I was like, okay, right, natural means...
Maybe, yeah. No.
But yeah,
someone doesn't know
so
what
men's physique is a bodybuilding competition, not where you wear the small, tight posing trunks, where it looks like Speedos. It's in the board shorts, where it's kind of more a beach body rather than like a bodybuilding competition where it's like size, like intense posing where you see them like really contracting the muscles and they throw in loads of different poses. This one's more relaxed. You still tensing, but it's more of a relaxed pose where it's like you're on the beach and you're kind of flexing. And then with men's open bodybuilding and classic physique, you get judged on the legs, whereas men's physique you don't, thankfully, because I wasn't blessed with calves. But we still train calves. We don't forget the calf races at the end of the workout. So yeah, it was my first time doing it. I stopped playing rugby, had to reassess what I actually wanted out of training. I am a PT, and I kind of realised that I wanted to focus on a goal with how I look and how I lived a certain lifestyle. And then with the men's physique, it just came down to a lot of dedication, training regime, eating a specific diet. I have a coach, shout out to James Physiques, he's the man, currently with Ben as well. And yeah, unfortunately it was, I placed joint last, but that was expected. The win for me was getting on stage.
Yeah.
And I did learn a lot. Not only James is a fantastic coach, and I learned loads. Like all the courses I've done, I feel through James, I learned so much. The guy has vast knowledge of fitness and training and nutrition, which then has helped me with my own clients and how I approach their training and nutrition. All
right, well, I'll ask you some questions.
I was about to say, yeah.
I mean, okay, to give some more for the people, Jack did this over the course of a year, and as he said, he did it natural, and to be quite frank...
Can you go a bit more in on natural?
Right.
Sorry. Go on.
Natural means he stuck to chicken and broccoli instead of chicken and injections. Jack did it over the course of a year, and his transformation photo, if you like, is quite staggering. The guy just looks like a different human being, and to think that,
thank you, Dan.
That was a year is a long time, but it's also not. The change you made in a year is just mind blowing. And then even to give an example of the dedication that Jack brought in, Jack worked for Rugby Tots for pretty much 5 years, and last Christmas we had our team social, which is, for a company as well respected as ours within what we do for children, the Christmas parties, well, which I think every Christmas party should. They get out of hand.
It was good fun, yeah, but it was like was just everyone was
Yeah,
just
sure. Everyone was
having a
just
good
having
time.
a hell of a time.
Yeah.
And Jack, you know, his competition was last week, which was September the 20-something, and our social would have been in December, and Jack chose not to eat off his plan or drink at the social, which showed the level of dedication he put in. So I'm sure there's a million different ways you could answer this, but what was the most impactful thing that has happened throughout it? You know, you look fantastic, physique's incredible, but let's go beyond that. Let's go deeper than that.
The main thing I learned was sacrifice. I noticed throughout myself before I started the journey, I think most people are the same, I think like a lot of the world. I looked in the mirror and I wasn't happy. I was dedicating myself to I was training in the gym. My nutrition weren't too bad. And I was like, why don't I look how I want to look? Like, why am I still not happy? And then I had to think, right, what do I need to do? And I thought, if I want to change the way I look and I want to look good, what's the one sport that you have to train to look good? And I thought bodybuilding. So then
Thought rugby.
I thought badminton. I thought squash twice on a Sunday.
That's why we play bowls.
And then I was like, right, I'm going to start messaging people and shout out to Rhys Owens-Jones, Rogie. He was working for Hit PT at the time and told me about James, and I got in touch with James and then started the journey. And as I was going through it, where I said at the start, oh, my nutrition weren't too bad, and I was training, I was like, I wasn't. I was doing everything wrong. I was drinking on the weekend, and then I wouldn't sleep properly, and then my nutrition wasn't very good. I didn't cook all my meals. I didn't train that hard in the gym. And then it made me realize that if I wanted to get in shape, I couldn't just do it every other day. It had to be all in. I had to make sure I was sleeping for 8 hours. I had to make sure I meal prepped every single bit of my food. I had to make sure that I said no to social situations. I had to say no to drinking. And for me, that was abnormal because I am such a social person. So when I had to say no to my friends, or I can't come out and have dinner, or sorry, I can't come out here because then I know my sleep's going to get messed up, or I'm not going to be able to get my cardio in, I really had to sacrifice a lot, which was different for me and difficult at the time because I love my friends and I wanted to see them. But I had to say no.
And we love having a pint, Di.
We do like a pint, Di. So for me, it was the sacrifice behind it all and having to say no to everything. And then towards the end of the prep, when you're on very low calories and you've had a full day of work, you've done weight training, you finished all your food because it's only 1,400 calories, and then you've still got 30 minutes of cardio to do, and it's 7:30 p.m. But then you know you've got to get up at 4:45 for work. And then you've got to go, fuck, I got to get on that bike. And then you're staying at the bike for 10 minutes on your rooftop. And you're like, fuck me, I've got to... And then you've got to get your heart rate between 120 to 140. So you can't just go on the bike. You have to get your heart rate up. And you've got fuck all in the tank, and you've got to go, well, there's only one thing I got to do. It's fucking get my headphones in.
Head down, son.
Head down. And I'd never done it before. And you know, with school, I didn't really work hard at school, kind of coasted through a lot of things. So for me, the biggest thing I took away from it is that you've got to nothing comes. If like you've got to sacrifice. And if you don't, then you're going to be the fucking same person you have been. Or you're going to look exactly the same a year from now in the mirror when you look at yourself. And that was the one thing I didn't want. Because I knew the year's going to go. 12 months is going to pass. No matter what. Hopefully you don't die. But I mean, percentage-wise, you're probably going to live for another year at 28 or 27. And I was like, I am not coming back in fucking August the 13th, 2022, looking in the mirror, and I'm exactly the same fucking person. At the start, it was about my physique. But then towards the end, it turned about the mental toughness that I have now built through it. But sacrifice is fucking what we need. And now I'm trying to put in other aspects of my life. But that's the one thing I took away from this bodybuilding was sacrifice.
Get me fucking pumped up, Di.
My heart rate's 120. Should have done this for
You're
cardio.
on the bike, Di. You're on the bike.
So that's the main lesson I learned. But one thing that I admire from you, that I seen it just now, so BioWave's probably on the take 164, because we have to keep clicking every now and then. But say there's been a problem, and we've had a problem setting up. You never let it get to you, and you're always like, don't get me wrong, we go, fuck's sake, like, oh god damn, but you'll go, right, what's the issue? What do I need to fix? And I took that into the bodybuilding, because you have such resilience on stuff that you'll have an obstacle, you're like, well, fuck it, we'll get over that, and then fuck it, we'll get over that, fuck it, we'll get over that. Even if it takes you 400 times, you're so persistent in getting it done. And the amount of times I measured my food wrong, I got my weights wrong, I didn't track something with James. Remember, we have the daily tracker, I didn't write it down. But I had to just go, well, it's a fucking obstacle, I got to get over it.
I think it's a learned ability. I don't think I was always like that.
True, but thankfully it's passed off.
No, yeah, but I mean, to your point, that I think anyone can be like that with
consistency.
Yeah, and you just, it's the way you approach.
Almost.
I've not told you this yet, but literally last night I was getting my vitamins ready to take this morning.
Oh no.
And my vitamin D capsules are fucking tiny.
Oh, mine are small as well,
Yeah, they are tiny.
Kind of like fish oil tablets, but tiny.
And my apartment is pretty cool, and it's got a fucking pirate ship floor. The floor is...
It's pretty out there, isn't it?
It's not flat. It's literally like a pirate ship. And I knocked over my vitamin D capsules.
Oh, no.
And they went all over the floor.
Is it a big jar?
No, it's not a big jar, but these things are tiny, bro. Forget how big the jar is. These things are... You could put 20 on your thumbnail. Like, these things are tiny. And I was like, I'm just going to have to pick them up. And I bent over.
One by one?
And I picked them up one by one.
One at a time, Di.
But in previous times, I would have been like, fuck you, fuck this, whatever. And I just, like, I smiled and I just put my tunes on. I just picked them up one by one. I was like, I can't hoover them up. I can't, obviously I'm not going to hoover them up, because then they're in the hoover. I can't wipe them up or with a dustpan and brush, because my floor doesn't allow me to.
One at a time.
So I had to pick them up one at a time. And I just...
Headphones
I think
on.
it's a learned ability. Previous times I would have
Agreed.
flipped out, and maybe even I would have hoovered them and gone, fuck it, I don't
buy a
need
new
them.
tab.
Yeah, that's it. But I didn't. I just picked them up one by one. Took ages.
Spent my Sunday.
Oh, God.
That's one thing I learned as well, is when we were fostering Crunchy, and sometimes he'd find his way into the bathroom and get locked in, love him. And
Who's Crunchy, but?
my dog.
Sure, but no.
I said that, my foster dog.
You didn't.
I did, I said foster dog.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right. Keep recording.
The dog I fostered. And I remember one day I'd work in the morning, I'd PT in the morning, and then I'd have a gap for like 3 hours, and I'd rush back just so he'd have some company. So he'd be alone for about 2 hours. And this one day I'd forgotten to shut the bathroom door, and the poor bugger's found himself in the bathroom, locked in. And I open, and I'm like rushing the keys, and normally I can hear him press up against the door. And I'm like, oh, bollocks, what's happened? I've opened the kitchen door, the front door, and I'm like, oh, fuck, he's not in the door, he haven't greeted me. And then I hear scraping on the bathroom door. Poor bastard's locked himself in. I've opened the door, and there is shit everywhere, spew everywhere.
Try not to laugh.
It's all good, the poor bugger. He comes out, and somehow, miraculously, there's nothing on him. And I was like, thank God for that. And I opened.
So he was completely clean.
He was. It's like he kind of buried himself in the corner, but he's opened the bathroom cupboard. I don't know how he's managed it, but then the bathroom cupboard, there is toilet paste everywhere.
Toilet paste? What's that, Di?
Toothpaste everywhere, shower gel everywhere, and I exactly the same thing. I give him some attention or whatever, and then I shut the bathroom door, put my music on, had a wet wipe, and I said, one wipe at a time.
Yeah, one wipe at a time.
One wipe at a time.
You have to keep going, but
at the start I was like, it smells like shit in here. It
and
is.
Spew,
cookie and a spew.
and toilet paste.
Look, if you ever want to brush your teeth, toilet paste is not the way to
There's
go.
a market for it. There's a market for it. Very good.
So yeah, sacrifice and one wipe at a time, or one tablet at a time.
All right. Yeah, to circle all the way back to your bodybuilding, what's next then, fella?
So I'm gonna have a big off season. There's certain areas I want to work on, as it's the bodybuilding sport. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy with how I look. But like any sport,
the sport is to improve your look,
of course,
as opposed to your performance is your look,
of course,
as opposed to scoring goals. Or
so for me, I'm very happy with my midsection, chest, from being in health suite all the time, boy.
So it's because you're from the valleys, but
it's because I'm from the valleys.
Chest.
So chest, and thankfully genetically my abs are very good. I haven't had to do much for them, which has been good. But my shoulders and arms are definitely lacking. So that's an area that is going to be a big work on. Legs are a given anyway. Like even up to the show, normally people 6 weeks or 4 weeks out will stop training legs. For me, I only stopped training a week out because I neglected my legs for a few years. So legs hard out, but arms and shoulders for competition purposes, for scorecard, that's the goal to work on. So then in not June coming, the June after, which is the natural bodybuilding competition, ideally I'm coming to win.
So yeah, 20 months from now, I guess.
Yeah, 2024.
Yeah.
So that I'm coming to win that one. That's going to be my competition that I feel with Coach James, who's been phenomenal. I can come and take first place.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's been my ventures and sacrifices. And you've got a couple of big things coming up, Benny. I don't know how much you want to get into, but you've obviously got the rowing coming up, which is going to be massive with big F-Bros, George Fleming.
You're gonna enjoy that if you listen to it. There's a few things that I want to share, but I want to make sure that it comes across that I'm not in any way showing off. It's a case of I like everything I do for work, about to put myself under a significant amount of pressure, and I think if I pull it all off, it'll be pretty epic.
100%.
So to give more context for the people that perhaps don't know who I am, or even if you do know who I am, my biggest day-to-day task is managing rugby tots. We have we're a rugby play program for children aged 2 to 7. We operate all over Hong Kong. Currently have 22 members of staff.
How many kids?
630.
Let's go,
I think,
baby.
with a goal of getting to 1,000 by January 31st.
Let's go.
We have we operate 7 days a week. So that's my first thing I do. Secondly, I am a radio show host. I edit, produce, and write the show. It goes out every Friday. I have...
That's how we have this lovely setup here. Thank you very much, Benny.
I have an events company. We run all sorts of bold, wonderful, creative shows in Hong Kong.
I love great explanation. Like great... What's the word I'm looking for? Description. That's it.
We're slowly coming back to life given where Hong Kong is. I do a lot of MCing, and then I also have a strong passion for DJing. So that makes up most of my life.
And that's where we come back to the start where I said Ben Cullen had 2 hours free on a bank holiday. So I managed to get a little piece of Ben Cullen.
Yeah, in addition to that, let me just I'll go this way. So the most exciting thing that's going to happen in my life in the next 4 weeks is 3 years ago, I pitched the idea of performing at the Hong Kong Sevens, which is Hong Kong's
Let's go, baby.
biggest event. And if you've ever been, the Saturday morning is when everyone is absolutely fired up. They're in their fancy dress. They're in the stadium from literally 7 a.m.
Well, it's a bit early. Like, you're outside by 5?
If not early. I don't know about 5, but like you're out there early. The South Stand is full by 8, 9.
Thumping.
And then you can't get in after that. So the South Stand's full, but there's no real entertainment. So I had the idea of during that period, I would DJ for the South Stand. That has come to life after putting in a lot of graft. On November the 5th, I will be DJing to the whole of the Hong Kong Stadium from 10 to 11 a.m. And considering the first match of the day is at 11 a.m. and I'm starting at 10, I think a lot of the stadium is going to be full, not just...
That's when it's going to be at its peak because everyone's arriving. Everyone's there.
So that's the most exciting part that's happening in my life. And then second to that, me and
I
George.
should say that the row is huge.
Yeah. Second to that, me and George
That's every day.
are going to try and raise $1 million for Movember.
And then how much you going to row?
We're going to row 1 million meters. So we're rowing 500,000 meters each across the month, or pretty much the month of November. We're starting a few days before for a launch party, which will require me and George to row 25 kilometers 20 times each in 30 days.
And how long would each 25 take?
About 2 hours.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's about 2 hours. It's a long time on the rower. So currently we're going through training for that.
Back's going to be an half.
Yeah. So I guess what I want to do is I've put down a list of everything I'm doing in October and November for episode, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4, to hopefully say that I pulled it all off.
You will die.
Are you ready? Here's my list. For October, I've got 5 DJ gigs, 3 MC gigs, 1 event. We'll have 3 rowing sessions, as in 3 25 kilometers. And I have 4 radio shows to produce, and I have 2 rugby tots parties to do, as well as working 7 days a week for rugby tots. All right, so that's October. And then for November right now, which could end up getting added to if I get booked for different things, but I don't think I can take on any more. Right now looks at 3 DJ gigs, 6 MC gigs, 1 event, 17 20-kilometer rows, 4 radio shows, all on top of working 7 days a week, as well as preparing for the Hong Kong Sevens performance for Stadium. That's just the next 8 weeks.
So where does sleep come in?
I'm going to do my best to I know
3
you're having
hours
a
a night,
banter.
like.
No, I'm going to do. I know you're having a joke, but I'm going to do my best to stay on top.
Basically, Steve Aoki die.
Yeah, and that's in no way to. I don't want to come across as like I'm showing off. It's like that's everything I'm going to hopefully pull off in the next 2 months.
That's the goal.
That's the level
the achievement
of work that I put in on a weekly basis. Yeah.
One wipe at a time, die.
Yeah, it is. It is
though. It's like one. You got that list. It's like, well, what's first?
Yeah.
And then we tick that off. What's next?
Yeah. I will say that I feel, there's things that just like creep in and I like get annoyed at myself. I think everyone's the same as like who doesn't get annoyed at spending too much time on their phone and like little things like that. But I have no room for bad habits in the next 10 weeks.
Definitely not taking the toilet to the phone. Toilet to the phone? I'm on fire today. Phone to the toilet?
Nah. My screen time needs to
drop a bit.
Reduce significantly.
Have you been making like? Is it slowly getting there, or?
I don't track it, and I should because the data is generally awful.
And what do you? Is it mostly YouTube, Instagram?
Nah, I don't watch much YouTube anymore. I am using Instagram more from a personal point of view. Rugby tots, and we've got a rowing one.
Well, I feel if you're using it for work, it's different.
It is, but you still.
I was about to say, but is it like the little habits that are creeping in?
You still end up, like scrolling a bit or like, checking. It's more like just general usage, and then you check more when you're using it more.
Yeah.
But then when you don't check for 1 second, you check for maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes. That adds up. So I just really need to hone in on. I would say that would be one of the biggest things. I'm pretty good. I don't watch telly. I listen to music, which is, I guess, part of what I do anyway. My phone is the biggest hurdle. It's not even a hurdle. You just have to be disciplined.
It's the biggest habit. I think, bro, that's literally everyone in the world.
I think it's everyone. I know that.
Everyone in the world.
But I can't be everyone for the next 10 weeks.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to share right now, because then it's documented that's in the future right now. I've not done that yet. That's in the future. Can we raise $1 million? Can we row 1 million meters? Can I do these 20 events?
100%.
Yeah.
There's a book that I've been telling Ben about that he's going to be reading soon. It's called The Race to Greatness, Winning, by a guy called Tim Grover, who was Michael Jordan's performance coach. And he always talked about next job. And winners or competitive people have this thing about winning and achieving stuff that kind of overtakes their life, not in a bad way, but it's when people say, so after I finished the bodybuilding show, it was like, oh, you can celebrate now and then. It's like, you're standing there, I'm like, but my life's not over. Like, what's the next job? What's the next win? And I think for you, after you do all this stuff, obviously chasing the next win, but when you achieve all that, to take a step back and go, fuck me, I just did all that.
Yeah, and I know I am because, well, I am because I'm getting on a plane for the first time in 3 years on December the 12th.
Same.
I'm getting home. I know that journey home will be
The breather.
reflective. You know, like, I won't be using my phone. It'll be 12 hours in plane. It will be at night, so I'm sure I'm going to try and get some shut-eye.
Get those plane films on. They're the best.
And then that journey back to Wales to go and see Mam and Amelia, and that will be a
reflection period.
Yeah, I mean, it's been
Good.
3 years since I left the city, and it's been I'm not going to say everyone's like, oh, it's been tough and whatnot. It has, but I'm not going to lie. Fuck me, I've had a good time as well. Like, we spent so much time in this fucking office making up content for Rugby Tots and like the stupidest shit, and we would laugh all day, every day. Financially, it was terrible.
Pretty rough.
However, the amount of videos, like, it's not even like we were just like, it's all captured, not all of it, lots of it's captured.
Yeah.
So despite everyone saying it's been like tough and whatnot,
it's been beautiful moments, haven't it?
yeah, it's also been class. The worst times have also been the best times, and what I can liken it to was, for more banter, for the listeners that don't know us, we spent time in Australia on the backpacking, and it was fucking terrible. But it was unbelievable. And I do look at elements of COVID in the same way. We had such a good time, mainly from like I am referring to, I guess, the Rugby Tot stuff, but even to shave even more banter, like for my 30th birthday, quite a milestone in people's lives. I had booked with George, and we were going to LA. We were going to Vegas. We were going to LA, and we were going to San Diego. I had been planning this trip for a long time. It was like, we're going to California, like, we're doing it. Then COVID happens. It's like, well, what we can do? Fucking, well, we can't do that. You can barely go out at this point with restrictions. So what do? We decorated every single room in our tiny apartment into a different pub. We had a pub crawl in our house. What a time.
Yeah.
So like, as you know, everyone's like, it's been terrible. It has been terrible, but I am not going to shy away from the fact that I also have laughed a stupid amount, and you know, the tough times have led to me being on, you know, this podcast is all because of COVID as well, because I learned the skills through getting the radio. Yeah. So
it's been like, we've had a laugh, but like, growing wise, like, you kind of had to take a step back, didn't you? Because you couldn't do anything. So you're like, well, where am I going?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? This situation's not very good, but I'm still in this situation. So am I going to take this alternative? Or am I going to take the fresh alternative?
I spent more time on the decks because I couldn't do anything else. I was putting out mixes.
Spent more time in the gym?
Yeah.
Well, I say the gym, they're all shut.
Spent the time in the Hurt Locker with Jonty Wood on.
Lovely Jonty on the roof.
Tommy's roof.
Money for jam.
Not even sure where I'm going from there. So, sorry, to go back. I will take a break at the end of it.
Good.
And I'm looking forward to going home. I'm looking forward to seeing my mates. I am going to definitely enjoy socialising with them all and taking a foot off the pedal. And then for New Year's Eve, I'm going to go somewhere on my own.
Good.
For like 3, 4, 5 days. And that'll be my proper holiday before coming back to Hong Kong. On the 5th of Jan.
Taking a big breath.
Through this big old snout.
It is a big old snout.
It's a big old snout.
If you didn't know that, it's a bit of a tough scenario when Ben has all his DJ things. It's like, DJ Benny Cullen, but the true fans know him as DJ Snout. And I remember before we were watching Ben play rugby, and this is when Ben started DJing. It was it was so funny. I was watching Ben play for Scottish. I'm sitting in the stands or whatever, and all I can hear is a woman with their kids, and they like watching, and they go, I think that's Coach Ben. And I hear one of the boys go, no, you're not, it's DJ Snout. And the contrast was just so good. And I was like, DJ Snout.
That's the way it is, but it's like kids in the morning and adults in the night.
You're Batman with an alter ego.
Oh, God.
It's like you're Bruce Wayne with the kids, and then when you DJ, you're Batman.
That party I was DJing at Saturday, they give out all these ridiculous coloured sunglasses. I was able to wear 3.
On your nose. Smoke a cigarette in the shower.
I got 3 pairs of sunglasses on my nose.
And honestly, if you go to the beach with Ben Cullen, make sure you take 2 tubes of sun cream, because you know one's on the nose.
Yeah. Oh, well,
shout out to Hugh Alexander,
and
Susan Cullen behind the ears.
And unfortunately, there's more and more going on this head. My hairline is creeping back.
The old duck pond.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Touch wood, mine's not going at the back.
Yeah, you've got to.
Don't get me wrong, there's hardly any at the front. The front is definitely going.
The front's fucked.
The front. The front is fucked. There's no point. Cyril, what the fuck are you doing here? But the back is staying strong. So I don't know. I could just like keep taking my A-line further and back.
I didn't realise.
I'd be like Stephen A. Smith.
I didn't realise how much the back of mine was going until we started taking more and more Rugby Tots content.
Oh yeah, all the angles, innit?
And I was like, obviously don't play rugby anymore, so you don't see yourself in the video analysis. So the only video analysis you get is the Rugby Tots content. And I'm like watching myself run and going, I can't be me. There's a white spot in the back of my head that's getting bigger every week.
I remember before when you were playing for Scottish or whatever, and there was a picture of you with like running.
That's what you're going to say.
And you sit back, and I'm like, what's the matter? And you're like, I'm not having that. And then you flip around, and then it's you with your A-line, and then you get like paint or whatever, and then you pretend to put like a paint over it.
Yeah, I zoomed in on WhatsApp really close and then filled in my lid.
Oh, the lid battles we've had, Di.
They continue, but
they do continue.
It's a daily thing.
Yeah, I think the older I'm getting, the more ease I'm getting with it as well.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not on that team at all.
Yeah, I think I'm married now, so it's like...
What do you mean you think?
No, but sorry. I think I'm married. But like, because I'm married now, I think
because
it's
I'm
like,
married.
I think because I'm married. I'm like, well, as long as I keep my rig up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Well,
I liked my head
no
shaved, to be
what.
honest. I did like the head shaved. We'll bring it back one day.
I think, especially with those glasses, we look like Logic.
Yeah, he's a good looking dude.
Yeah, good rapper. I think he's coming back.
Let's go. All right, fella, we are coming up to an hour. What else do you want to say is on your list if we've not covered it?
I think it's a bit really, Di. Like, aspirations, but we've kind of gone through like the next few months, which is good.
Yeah, I think to be more specific on that, Jack has inspired me to have a crack at, firstly, Jack inspired me to start working with his coach, James, because I could see the transformations that Jack was going through. I saw the work he was putting in, but I saw how much his body was changing. And similarly to Jack, I was like, I'm doing a lot of work here, and I can't say I look exactly how I want. So I made it, I guess I changed my training and went away from a more CrossFit, functional fitness training point of view into more structured bodybuilding, and I've had some success with James.
Look great, Di. Look phenomenal.
So I am going to do the next 10 weeks
Let's
of graft.
Go.
3 weeks of time at home. Not like I'm not going to train or going to complete bender. And then I'm going to do 6 months of prep and try and
look phenomenal.
Do this bodybuilding competition, the natural one in June,
and then take home a fucking trophy, baby.
Yeah, and that's my I'm doing that partly to just have a focus straight into the year.
Yeah.
Gonna go fully sober before it. Not going to touch a drop.
My man.
And yeah, that's my next while.
I think my next while is, well, obviously it's 20 months away for the bodybuilding show. But I think the thing I'm trying to do at the moment is be more honest and genuine.
With regards to what?
With how I live my life. like from sport and like my own personal PT and my job were there. It's learning to make the right decisions and be more genuine in my decisions and how I am with people. I think I've had my fair share of issues with alcohol. And I think for me, even though I'm not, my bodybuilding's a while away where I could still drink, but I think for me, staying away from alcohol for a long period of time to figure out how, I think the reason, sorry, I'm going to backtrack here, but I'm trying to be a better person and be honest with people. If I just not go along with things and be a good friend, because I see patterns that I don't like from people that I don't want to just be like, you'll be all right. And be more upfront and be honest with, if they make a decision, they come to me like, I'm struggling. I'll be like, well, you fucking should be. You fucking made this decision that's led to this. So not be just a friend that's going to be okay with people making decisions, or just, it's like being honest with them for them to be better.
Yeah. Which is tough.
It's fucking really tough, Di. It's been a few months that I've started to kind of feel this way, but Caroline's been amazing for me. And I wouldn't have done bodybuilding if it weren't for Caroline.
Yeah.
Because when we started seeing each other, I was like, a bit insecure. I was like, fuck, I'm not looking how I want to look. And nor have I remember we were in Fusion in Causeway Bay, and she goes, well, fucking change your life then. You fucking say you want to do this, you want to look like this. Stop going out in the piss. Start tracking your food better. And I was like, she's right. Do you know what I mean?
So the amount of times I wanted to make a joke in the last minute.
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like all this stuff. And through that, it's made me realize that I want to be like that for my friends, because I just feel that people, and don't get me wrong, you'll have backlash and they'll be like, what do you mean? What, you think you're better than me? And it's like, no, you love people and you want friendships that you help grow together. And sometimes that means saying to people who you love or who you care about, going, well, if you fucking look back at the 10 decisions you've made in the past 3 weeks, that's where you've ended up. But to do that, it fucking takes a lot. And that's why I love Jordan Peterson as well.
Yeah.
Because he talks about being honest and truthful is the fucking toughest thing you can do. So for me, my aspirations in the next year, or well, forever really, but like especially over the next like few months when we go back home and we see people, or I start to now, be a bit more social. It's like, just be a genuine friend.
Yeah.
Even if it means being a little bit harsh and just truthful so they can be better.
I don't even think it's harsh if you said you're being honest. It might
just sound blunt, because I think nowadays it's hard. But like, I want to be that.
That's how
friend.
you deliver it as well, though.
Of course, I'm not going to be like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But like, I just want to be honest in friendships so that I'm a good friend, better person.
Like it.
So that's my aspiration over the next while.
That's why you told me I look shit earlier.
Well, that's why I said. That's why I said those pins. Like,
you've been skipping leg day, would I?
It's the calf raises.
Oh God, very good. All right, well, Jack, I really enjoyed our first episode.
Appreciate it.
All I can think is, don't know why it took this long to get it started, but here we are. Everyone starts somewhere.
Happy Chief Day to everyone.
Yeah,
out there.
That's it. That's why it's serendipity that we ended up doing it today. So yeah, happy Keith Cullen Memorial Cup Day. Happy Memorial Cup Day to Jack, Amelia, and Mother.
Susan, love you all very much. Love you, Amelia.
And we will get back with another podcast soon.
Hopefully, well, it's not another bank holiday, Ben, so I don't know if I'll be able to get you in.
No, I had enough fun today to lock it into the schedule. All right, love you, G.
Love you, G.